Awesome. Cool. Welcome to everyone who is joining on the replay. Good to have you with us here today. All right, awesome. So we're going to get rolling here. Today, we are going to be getting into some incredible detail around how to achieve freedom while running a thriving business in 2022 using digital marketing. And I'm going to be going into a bit of my own personal journey in this industry, which is supported by my own story, my own real story of how I got started in here and how I started seeing just absolutely amazing results in all the businesses that I was working with. So, Shalane, are there any? Is there anything you need to go over before we get rolling here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and turn the music down. I'm just going to go over a few Zoom housekeeping rules, which none of these are going to be new to you guys, but my name is Shalane. I'm the COO of Watt Advertising, and welcome to an adventurer's guide to getting more online sales. I am guessing all of you are adventurous in some way or another, and we're excited to get to know you more on this webinar. So a few things to keep in mind is please keep yourself on mute, and ideally your camera's on, just so you're as engaged as possible, and be active in the chat. Karash and I, who are also on the Watt Advertising team, are going to be lighting up the chat. And so if there's anything throughout the webinar that stands out to you or you have questions about, put that in the chat and we're going to have a conversation there. And our goal is to distract Sam as much as possible. Also,
Often
we're going to have
successful.
we're going to have a Q&A time at the end where you'll be able to unmute yourself and ask your questions with your camera too. So that is all I have in terms of housekeeping rules. If you have any questions throughout about anything, feel free to ask me directly in the chat. And Sam, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shalane. So, to get us kicked off, I am Samuel Watts, and I've been specializing in digital marketing for a few years now. I've been in the online services industry for the best part of, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, and digital marketing more recently since then. And since I started this particular business, Watt Advertising, I've helped businesses and also agencies with their clients' businesses perform dozens of account audits, getting their digital marketing to the next level where they're getting the best bang for their buck when it comes to online advertising. And the results of that have been absolutely astonishing. We started measuring these results really, really accurately at the start of 2021. And we've since the start of 2021, we've generated over $2 million in revenue, which has been absolutely phenomenal to see. We've seen some amazing stories of people's businesses really turned around by the power of online advertising once they took it to the next level. And we've had a lot of experience as a team. We've managed over 40 different accounts. We might be getting actually up to about 50 now, in a massive variety of industries, everything from skincare to bike companies to HVAC companies to coaches, consultants. We've touched a lot of different industries. Whatever business you're in, it's really possible to get great results with online advertising. And then the other thing that's been really cool about the results that we got for our clients is that we managed to do that at an average return of $1 in and $8 out, which is far above the industry standard of about $1 in and $2 out. So that's something that we've been really, really excited to accomplish. We're really proud of those results as a team. And we want to go further. We want to provide even more value. We want to bring people up to date with their online advertising. We want to really help people launch into the online world in a way that they never have before as we continue on through 2022. So in 2022, we are aiming to have achieved over $15 million in revenue for our clients' businesses. And we want to maintain a really healthy return on ad spend at an average of $1 in, $6 out or higher. Dwayna, welcome. It's good to see you. And before we get rolling here, I just want to let you guys know that before the end of this, webinar, we're going to be offering 5 complimentary consultation calls that would really help take your business to the next level. So hang around to the end for the scheduling link on that. Now, over the next hour, we're going to focus on 4 core areas. We're going to get into a bit of my story. How on earth did I get into digital marketing, from selling bikes and whiskey to getting into the online services industry and getting into digital marketing in a much bigger way? We're going to focus then on results-focused marketing, marketing that actually works, that actually gets the results that matter to your business, the results that actually make a difference to your bottom line. Then we're going to be going into a little bit about what to look for when you're outsourcing your digital marketing, to make sure that you pick a really highly qualified team, a team that knows what they're doing and that can get you those results that you're actually looking for. And then towards the end, we are going to have a Q&A section where we'll be able to address some of your specific questions for your specific businesses. And please don't be shy in the Q&A section, because if you have a question about this, there's a good chance that someone else here in the room or on the replay as well has that question as well. And you could actually be helping them with our support as we answer that question. So without further ado, let's take it back to 2018, when I really got my start in the online services space. Now, I'm an engineer by background. I've got an engineering degree, and my very first business, much longer before 2018, was doing computer support and computer repair for people. And that was good and everything, but I really saw that there was a change in the direction of online. Online wasn't just like nice to have. Online was essential. Online was becoming where people live. And, you know, if you ask someone today, hey, what percentage of your life is lived online? It's going to be a lot bigger than just, 10 or 20%. People live a large portion of their lives online today. So to reach your customers, to reach people with your business in a way that impacts them, you really do need to be getting online. And I started that movement of direction in 2018. Now, you might notice I have a funny accent. My accent is very strange and odd and peculiar. And the reason for that is I come from Scotland, which is right at the top of the UK here. And this is where I started my first businesses. And the first business I started in the online services space was a really incredible business, which was developing websites for medical practices. And this was amazing. We managed to turn around the crappy websites that medical practices were using and turn them into really, really effective tools for patients and doctors to really help people get connected with the health solution that they needed, that was right for them, as quickly as possible, with as little bottleneck as possible. We helped reduce phone call time, waiting times, a massive amount, and really got people's health improved as a direct result of really effective online services. So this is where I really started to see the impact that could be had on people's lives with reaching them online. And medical services, it's a really obvious example. You're literally making a big difference in someone's health, but it's the same is true with any business that you might be involved in. Whatever your business does, whatever service or product you provide that to make people's lives better, to improve the world and help people connect into their own essence, and to help them with whatever stage of the journey they're on where your product or service is appropriate. So don't undervalue it. It's really, really incredible. And so don't be shy about whatever digital marketing you're doing. You really do have a moral obligation to market it online if you actually want to make the difference in people's lives that you set out to make when you got into your business. So from medical practices, I took a little bit of a left turn and I got into this really interesting startup, which was in the circular economy in Scotland. And I love to cycle. I've been a cyclist all my life. I even did a few years as a bicycle messenger. I live and breathe bikes. So this is a very natural business for me to experiment with. And I had a lot of fun in this space. Yeah, Shalann's asking in the chat, anyone else love to cycle? Cycling's really, really great fun. Like anytime you're on 2 wheels, it's awesome. So I really got into this space, and a lot of what we do now at What Advertising is focused on the adventure industry as well. And that comes from this core of me being involved in adventure businesses. So bicycles, I loved them a lot. We got some great results in the time I was working with this startup. I managed to 10x the stock value of this business in the 4 months that I was there. And I just really saw that the small differences that were made in the online world like really attracted people to this business. And this business is now primarily an online business. At the time it was very local. It was like, literally, as you see here, just warehouses full of bikes that we would get in off the street, repair and flip. So very, very exciting stuff. But now they're fully online because that's where people connect with your business these days. So that was a really, really fun experience. And from that point, I actually had a big decision to make because things changed in my life in a big way. I've been working on a lot of different businesses. I had a lot going on, but I had more opportunities and more things in my life that I could move towards. So I want to ask in the chat here, have any of you guys made a really big decision that's completely and totally changed your life for the better? Let us know in the chat here. Has there been like a defining moment where like one thing happened and everything else changed? You can trace it back to that moment and it was very, very empowering for your life. Oh, Demetrios, I'm seeing your comment there. You started a company, Powder 7. Very nice. I love the snow sports industry. I love to board. Real estate investment, big change for you, Marcelino. Shalan, you started your first business at 18. Yeah, like we often have these like big defining moments in our lives where everything changed. And those moments are really, really powerful. And I didn't know this at the time, but I was right on the verge of one of those moments. John, you were saying the move into financial services, that was impactful, phenomenal. So once upon a time, a bit after 2018, about a year after 2018, in 2019, I got on a plane. And I got on a plane to visit a few friends. And this is a beautiful picture of Mount Rainier, which you can see as you fly into Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. And so I flew over from Scotland to the Pacific Northwest to meet a few entrepreneur friends, go to some entrepreneur meetups, and also to spend a lot more time with my girlfriend, Shalan. We've been dating for a few months at that time, and she was over in that neck of the woods. And so I went off on an adventure, and I didn't know how long I was going to be over there. I didn't know if I was going to do more travel beyond that. But this quote came to me from this amazing guy called Bill Callahan. He's a wonderful musician. And he says, leaving is easy when you've got someplace you need to be. And I had so much going on that was very successful and moving in incredible directions in Scotland. But I had more stuff drawing me over to where I am now in the world. And I had that mission, I had that drive to make a big change, and it ended up being a really big decision. So when I went over, I left everything. I sold my car. I didn't know how long I was going to be traveling for. So I finished living where I had been living, and I bought a lot of whiskey. I thought, hey, like if a real Scotsman comes over to the US and brings people a bunch of whiskey, people are probably going to be interested in that whiskey. And so that's something that I thought would be good to like generate a bit of cash just while I was over there to get around and extend my travel plans. And that's exactly what happened. So you see some amazing bottles of whiskey here. I had a really, really nice bike, and I traded that for these two bottles. So you see towards the bottom, that picture of those two bottles, a 21-year Johnnie Walker XR, and then the Dewar's 30-year bottle. That Dewar's 30-year bottle, the first day I was in Yakima in Washington, where I am now, I sold that bottle for $600. And I thought, okay, that was a good strategy. Let's go. And so this is a really crazy journey. I was like, okay, I've like left these other businesses. I'm selling whiskey out of my duffel bag. What's going to happen next? It was very, very exciting. And here I actually found this picture of a very happy whiskey customer who was just thrilled out of his mind. I'm a big lover of whiskey. Let me know in the chat if you do like whiskey, what one or two of your favorite whiskeys are. This is an amazing bottle as well. This is like the very last bottle that I had. I almost sold this bottle so many times, but I didn't. I didn't sell this bottle of whiskey actually, and the reason that I didn't sell this bottle of whiskey in the end, and this was the nicest bottle that I had. It's a beautiful, beautiful whiskey from the Isle of Mull, off the coast of Scotland, and it's pronounced Le Chig in Gaelic. And in regular English, we'll call it Le Dig. But this is a very, very lovely whiskey, and I actually ended up serving that at my wedding because I fell deeper and deeper in love with Shalane, who's here on the call with us today. And I couldn't be apart from her. I couldn't go back thousands of miles away from her. I had to be with her. And so I asked her to marry her. I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. And we served that whiskey at our wedding, and we have been together ever since, very, very happily married. So this was a really cool point in my journey. But at this point in my journey, I'm thrilled to bits here. I've just married the love of my life. But I sold all my whiskey, and I didn't have a business to, generate more revenue from. Like, the whiskey was gone. I needed a plan. I needed to do something different. And so what came to me was digital marketing, because I knew there was so much demand in the space of digital marketing. And I thought, hey, people need this. Like, this is really, really valuable. You can literally see changes in a few weeks from digital marketing. You can seriously impact businesses this way. And it was a really natural segue from the previous work that I'd done in the online services industry. So I started to look into digital marketing, and particularly online advertising, paid advertising. And I really wanted to get to the root of what the most powerful advertising platforms were. And they're pretty obvious, it's like Google and Facebook, right? But I was pretty surprised to see there was a big difference in the number of people advertising on Google. Over 4 million people are businesses that are advertising on Google, compared to about $2 million. $2 million. I'm just thinking, in all the cash that I'm bringing in for these clients, we make them so much money. 2 million people are advertising on Facebook for their businesses. And that's half as much as Google. Of course, Facebook is still really, really powerful, but I was surprised to see that Google was so far ahead, so much more utilized, so much more market share. In fact, it's the thing that makes Google have the third largest market cap of any business in the US. It's the revenue that they get from their ads. And so this really intrigued me. I saw real power in it. I saw massive uptake in the utilization in all businesses for digital marketing. We do have some, runners up like Twitter, Pinterest, but they're kind of small potatoes in comparison. What really blew my mind as I started to look further into this is that $147 billion of Google's revenue came from Google Ads in 2020. And that is 80% of their revenue. That is most of what they are focused on. And so this was really intriguing to me as well, because I'd done some search engine optimization projects. I'd done the website development. I'd done all sorts of smaller things. But when it comes to Google, and someone's going to Google something before they buy a product or a service 9 times out of 10 these days. And I was surprised to see, wow, Google invests so much in their advertising platform, and they're getting this kind of result. So I started not spending as much time on search engine optimization, because it takes months and months and months to get results. And it is good, but I found Google Ads to be much more powerful. You could get results from the market within a matter of weeks. You could immediately start to see, okay, what is working, what's not working. What's not working, let's fix it, let's modify, let's adjust. And that instant market feedback is so powerful. We've never had the opportunity in human history to have that quick of a market feedback. People used to had to spend $100,000, $200,000 for a big marketing campaign and run it for months before they knew if it was working or not. Now we can spend a few $100s and get instant market feedback and adjust course and really get the results that we need in our business. So very, very powerful. It really levels the playing field for everyone who's doing online advertising for their business. And this is a trend that looks to be continuing. So this is Google's ad from revenue this is Google's revenue from ads since the early 2000s, and it's just going up like crazy. And I did some investigative work. I wanted to see, okay, like this is all the way up until 2020, but last year, 2021, is this trend really continuing? So I want to see in the chat here, does anyone have any idea, if they're going to guess, as a percentage, how much did Google's revenue from ads grow by in 2021 compared to 2020? Let me know in the chat, give us a quick percentage, and let's see what guesses we have here. This is always fun. 33%, 50%, 30%, says Dwayna. Let's get another guess in here before revealing the answer. Those are good guesses. I like that you think big, guys. It's not quite as big as like 30 or 50%, but it is pretty big. Karosh, you're pretty close. So Google's revenue from ads in 2021 was around $178 billion. So another enormous increase. And that is about a 21% increase. Now, there aren't too many industries that are growing by 10 or 20% every single year. This is one of them. So pay attention. Anytime you see a wave, a big source of movement in any market, you really want to pay attention because there's something very special happening there. And that's the case with digital marketing, and specifically here in this very concrete example with Google Ads. So this is a wave that we are riding, and it's very, very exciting to see the amazing results that people can get now that in the first time in history, people are able to reach their customers in incredible connected ways where they can instantly get that feedback and adjust and talk their customers' language more and more precisely with every new set of ads that they develop. So question for you guys, who here has a website or is part of a business that has a website? Surely there aren't that many of you that have a website. It's only 2022 after all. Dwayna, yes. Shalan's got a few. Yeah, I know you've got a few. Carissa, several. Absolutely. Derek has a few. Cindy, yes. Okay, everyone who's answered, every single person, 100% of the people here have a website or are part of a business that has a website. Now, this is really, really important because your website, it has to be there for a reason, right? And like to be reputable as a business, you really do need a website. If someone's looking for you and they can't find your website, they have a couple of question marks. I know some people can get away with just having like an Instagram profile or like a Facebook page, but you really do need a website because you own your website and you have a lot of control over that ecosystem. It's a whole little world unto itself online, and it's very, very powerful. And what's more, if your website visitors can take a valuable action on your website, you can profit from paid traffic, even if it hasn't worked before. So in other words, if someone goes on your website and they can call you, or they can sign up to your newsletter, or they can submit a contact form, or they can buy something online, those are all things that are super, super valuable. They literally add dollars to your bank account. So these are not trivial things for you to be able to do with your business online. And I mentioned that you can profit from paid traffic even if it hasn't worked before, because we've had several clients who have had a really bad time with Google Ads. Like, it's been the case where they've just like set up these automated campaigns. They've said, hey, Google, or hey, Facebook, here's my credit card. I trust you. And then that credit card, the closer it gets to Google or Facebook, it just melts into the screen and like all their money's wasted. So this is something that, we've seen time and time again. But if you focus on the things that really matter for your business, those valuable actions that actually make a difference financially to your business, when you're running any sort of online advertising, that's where you can get the results that make a difference and can actually change the game for you online. So next thing is like, what should that focus be? Like more specifically, where should we be focusing when we're buying traffic online for our websites? And because building campaigns that are profitable, it really is easier said than done. You do need to have a lot of involvement and optimization to make sure that you find a solution that works, because marketing and advertising is an experimental game. You have to test. I really like the analogy of the Wright brothers. They tested and tested and tested and tested. And before they even added an engine to their airplane, they had something that was able to glide for several minutes because they built the core really, really, really well. But that was through years of experimentation and testing. Now, it doesn't take that long to test if something works online or not, but you do need that testing phase. So it does need that hands-on, that constant optimization to get towards the results that you want. So people often think about things like clicks and impressions, like clicks and impressions, like we want traffic, right? If we buy loads of traffic, then, and all that traffic comes in, those people are just going to buy our stuff, right? Unfortunately, that's a big Scottish no from me, because that doesn't work. If you just focus on clicks, if you just focus on the traffic, just the fact that you're getting traffic in, that's not going to work, because you don't have the long-term vision in mind. You don't have the journey in mind of like, okay, sure, we need that traffic, but how do they convert? How do they turn into customers? So that is a really, really crucial part of the puzzle. That is what we really focus on above anything and everything else. Now, getting impressions, getting exposure used to be good. It used to be fine. It used to be fairly workable when, we just relied on slapping advertisements on billboards or vehicles or, even TV ads. But those weren't very trackable. Like, you couldn't measure the specific results. You could say, oh, we know like 10,000 people are driving past that billboard. Surely one of them will buy something. And sometimes they did, but we didn't know for sure. It's the future. It is 2022. We are able to track results online to a degree of accuracy never ever known before in human history. And this is one of the real game changers, because not only can you measure specifically, oh, that person called as a direct result of an ad. Oh, that person bought my product as a direct result of an ad. Those purchases, those actions online also feed the artificial intelligence, which these online advertising platforms are increasingly dependent on. And this is really, really powerful, because if you get someone online that's interacted with you in a way that's useful and valuable to your business, then the AI will go and find other people just like that and show more ads to the right people. So having that trackability is really, really potent. And to start with this, you need to really look at the target. Like, where are you aiming at? What do you want? What are those valuable actions that you need in your business? So I'll ask, what type of business are you guys in? Actually, you already let me know in the chat. You guys are so far ahead of the game here. I know it's like financial services, snow sports. We have a few different businesses in the house here. Well, keep in mind, as we go through this section, think about your business. What's valuable to your business? Because every business is slightly different in terms of what the most valuable actions are. One of those things is newsletter signups, because these are where you can transform expensive traffic, expensive clicks into a longer term relationship where you're communicating through email marketing at a much lower cost. So this is really, really, really valuable. Even if you don't get a sale right away, it's a great place to capture valuable potential customers. So this is a real focus for a lot of businesses, and most businesses should have at least some aspect of email marketing as part of their strategy, because it does help keep the costs manageable and help maximize the returns you get from advertising. Then it might just be a sale. Like, it might just be straight up, hey, I've got this product on my website. I want someone to add to cart, check out, and buy. That is what I want. That's fairly straightforward, very, very simple. And then we have really interesting cases, and like these cases come up a lot with our clients' businesses. Often we have someone who's going to be answering the phone, or a call center of people that are going to be answering the phone, so that when someone calls up, whether it's a receptionist or a call center or just even business owner themselves, there's a human being that people want to talk to, and this isn't going away. Like, we've had a very different change in society over the last couple of years, especially. A lot of these changes online have been accelerated with lockdowns where people weren't going outside. But people still need to talk to people. People only do business with people that they like. So that connection, that phone call, that conversation is often what's required to instill that trust in your customer. And there are a number of ways to focus on this. And it's really, really powerful to focus on this. So an example I'll give here is from one of our clients that was a van rental company. And we found that the more clarity we got, the more profit that they got in their business. This van rental company, they've been running ads for years. They've been running Google ads for over 8 years. And their main focus wasn't that defined. And so when we started working with them, we said, hey, we need to really laser focus on the thing that's most important to your business. And for them, they just needed loads of phone call leads. And as a result of having that as a core focus, we generated almost $500,000 in revenue for them between June last year and February this year, which was absolutely staggering. And that was at an average return on ad spend of $1 in, $8.50 out, which was much bigger as a return than when we started. Because when we started with them, they were paying maybe about $15, $16 for every phone call. But by focusing on phone calls as the thing that was most valuable to them, we started to see, okay, these campaigns aren't getting good rates for phone calls. Like, these campaigns are wasting money, and these campaigns, these ones are doing really well. Let's focus all our testing and experimentation and creation of new advertising copy. Like, let's focus all of that on the strong campaigns, the stuff that works. And we dialed that in more and more and more. We got really granular with our focus. And over that time, we cut that down from like $16, $17 a call down to under $10 a call. So they were doing maybe about 4x return on ad spend when we started with them, which for them was like barely profitable. And like, there were probably some months where it wasn't profitable for them to be running Google ads. But by dialing that in, getting the focus really, really clear of the result that was actually impactful to their business, we skyrocketed that. And now that's a very, very clear margin. They can run Google ads profitably all day, all night, every single day of the year. Got a couple other examples here. I've got a lovely trio of bike shop businesses that we've worked with. Really, really love the cycle industry. If you haven't noticed that or picked up on that already. So here we have, and all of these, by the way, have different focuses, slightly different focuses for their business was required to get these results. And that was the thing we focused on first before these results came through the line for them. So here's a bike shop in Montana. The focus for them was phone calls and contact form submissions. We generated about $24,800 in revenue for them, $1 in, $12 out. Bike shop in Arizona, mountain bike shop, they were focused on rentals. They had loads of inventory. They had loads of bikes ready to go for locals and also tourists who would come in and ride on these amazing trails in Sedona in Arizona. And we managed to generate $98,000 in revenue for them, $1 in, $35 out. So you can see these really, really big returns for particular industries. Absolutely phenomenal. Then we had the San Diego bike shop. Focus was exclusively online sales. We generated them about $136,000 in revenue, and that was an average of $1 in and $6.60 back. So very, very powerful stuff. So who here sees a bit more potential with Google Ads and maybe just online advertising in general than before you started this webinar? Let me know in the chat. Cindy, you're saying Google Ads hadn't been on your radar at all? Wow, it's powerful stuff. Really, really powerful stuff. Who sees a bit more potential with Google Ads than before you started the webinar? Like, where do you see the impact? Do you see where this can make a real difference in businesses? If you don't, let me know as well. That's good feedback too. All right, feeling a bit shy on that one. No problem. Carissa, afraid to try them. Okay, it's legitimate because a lot of people don't make money on Google Ads. So that's a legitimate fear. Dwayna, yes, you hired us. We've loved working with you. Absolutely amazing. Cindy, yes, amazing. Love to see it. Okay, so one thing, if you are looking to run some online ads for your business, you can do it yourself, but you can also, or you can do it in-house. You can train someone up on your team already to do this. There's a big gap in the marketplace, so sometimes it is effective to train someone in-house who's already on team. But if you are looking to outsource, then qualifying a digital marketing team is important to do correctly. Now, we are seeing a massive gap in the skill sets that we need in the market in this area. Businesses need digital marketing skills, and we just don't have the talent really to fulfill that. And I check LinkedIn every single week, and every single week there are about 70 to 100,000 digital marketing jobs that get posted. That's every week, and most of them are going unfilled because there's a massive, massive need in the market. Businesses aren't getting the results they need online. There aren't enough people to do it. It's not being taught very well in universities. It's changing so fast. So there's a lack of balance here. But getting a good agency can really help to get a team of people who all know what they're doing to get really, really good guaranteed results for your business. So 9 times out of 10, hiring an agency really does pay for itself. So you want to have a really good idea of what you can afford and what it looks like in terms of your profit margins to be able to pay for an agency. But if that does work for you, and as long as they actually know their stuff, so you wouldn't want to hire these hooligans, for example, then it can be an exceptionally powerful investment. Some questions you want to ask when you're looking to outsource this for your business is, are they an agency? Are they a team? Or is it just a one-man band? This is good to know. And one of the reasons this is good to know is if it is just a specialist, like a freelancer or a one-man band, they can be good. They can be really good, but you want to know, like, will your ads be managed if someone goes on holiday? Right? It's like if you're going to trust someone with your money, you want to make sure that the team really knows what they're doing, and that they have each other's backs, and that the responsibility is shared. And if someone goes on holiday, there are other team members there to support you and to let you know what's going on and give you clarity around what's going on in your account and clarity around the results that you are or maybe aren't getting, and what changes in approach and strategy are required to get things on track. Also, you want to ask, does this agency or does this team of digital marketers, do they focus on those results that we've just discussed here that are so valuable to your business? Or do they just focus on clicks and impressions? Do they just say, hey, we'll get you traffic and it'll all be good? Like, you want to make sure that they really focus on those results. You want to make sure that they discuss things like profit with you. You want to have discussions around, okay, what return on ad spend is profitable for you? And that varies from business to business. So some businesses, for example, if they're a retailer and they don't have their own products, their profit margins are a bit smaller and they might need a higher return on ad spend. Some businesses have really low overheads and they supply the service or product directly. They might only need 2 or 3x return on ad spend before they're profitable, rather than the 8 or 9x return on ad spend. So you want there to be clarity on what return on ad spend is specifically profitable for your business. You want to make sure they set up conversion tracking. You want to make sure they're actually tracking those results accurately, and that if you ask them, hey, can I see how many signups there have been from ads? Can I see how many phone calls there have been? How many sales there have been from ads? You want them to give you a report that says, exactly, here's what we've got, and this is exactly tied to traffic from ads. And it's totally possible, but it's the number one problem I see. I've partnered with about 9 different agencies doing white label services. The number one problem is that tracking is not set up, and money's being wasted because there's no feedback loop of, oh, this is working, oh, this isn't working. And so it's a guessing game. You don't want it to be a guessing game. You want to be exact and precise. You want there to be conversations around cost per acquisition. That's another good way to determine what is profitable for you in your business. How much can you afford to spend before you lose money? Some people will say, hey, to grow, I'm happy to break even on my marketing costs to grow and build that flywheel in my business a bit more. Some people need that profit on every sale. You also want to know who owns the account, like who actually owns the account, and whether it's a Facebook ads account, a Google ads account, Bing ads, whatever, who owns it, because you want to own it, or it should be owned by the business. It should not be owned by the agency. Some agencies have like a little proprietary black box where it's like, oh, we'll take care of this and you just pay us for leads and whatever. Sometimes that works, but honestly, one of the biggest advantages of running online ads is that it's not just a money machine, which it really, really can be if it's set up properly, but it's also a powerful market research tool. You get instant feedback from the market. And over the course of 8 years, for example, with that van rental company, we were able to see, okay, we've got years of data on what didn't work, of what did work. And that's what made us able to really dial in those results and focusing on the things that did work and testing in the campaigns and the areas that were effective for it to work. And we managed to double their return on ad spend with that clarity. So even though they got that clarity through their Google Ads account, it was also impactful for the rest of their business because they could see, oh, well, this region is more responsive. Oh, this part of the US speaks this language when they're looking for this stuff. So like that is really, really valuable. That can literally be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you want to make sure that you or the business that you're part of owns the account and that it's not locked up away by an agency. If you need to change agencies, then you need to be able to have the keys to your account to continue that journey, to continue those experiments, to dial in further and further towards profitable results. So I've gone over a lot. I've heard from some people that it's sometimes a bit like drinking from the fire hose. I hope it's not too much information. There should be some things in here, though, that have absolutely given you some clarity on digital marketing for your business, but it really is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much that I can't go into detail here just because of the time restrictions. So what we do have here is we do have some complimentary consultation calls. I've set aside some time specifically in my calendar for you guys and also to everyone out on the replay, specifically to get a complimentary call to discuss what's necessary for your business to take the next step forward. These, can be very, very valuable, and I pay for consultation calls for other marketers to get outside perspective because it adds so much value. A few $100s, if I'm paying for it, often yield tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars of a return from that insight and that perspective. So I have 5 of these available. These are limited. So please, if this is something that you do think is going to be right for you, I would act sooner rather than later. And also, you will be eligible if you do take one of these calls for a 25% discount on all What Advertising services as well. So this is a really, really unique offer. And so if it is right for you, if you are wanting to make a move in digital marketing to really change the results you're getting online for your business, I'd really jump on this before all those calls have gone. So just a quick clarification here. This is not for you if you're not ready to change up your approach, if you don't want highly trackable results in your marketing, and also if you're not committed to the journey of setting your business apart in the market and doing those experiments and really learning your customers' language and working with that market feedback. If you're looking for results in like 2 weeks, it's not going to happen. It is a journey. So if that's not something you're prepared for, that consultation call probably isn't quite right for you at this point in your journey. But results can happen quickly. We do have peak performance. Our range of peak performance as we get an account up and going is usually between 90 to 120 days. And we've been getting such good results for our clients, and we're so confident in the results that we can get that we're actually now newly introducing our 150% money back guarantee on ongoing monthly management. So for the money that you pay to What Advertising for management, if it doesn't work in 120 days, if we can't get you the results that actually make a difference in your business, we'll give you your money back plus 50% of what you paid to us in monthly management. That's how confident we are that this can make a strong difference to your business. But we can get results faster, like it does happen. It just varies from market to market. So for example, there's a HVAC company that we brought on at the end of May, and they've generated over $100,000 in business already at around $3,000 a month in ad spend. So these results can happen faster. It really just does depend from business to business. So with that being said, meet the team. These guys, I will be supporting you on that call. They might not all be there in on the actual consultation call, but they will be involved in the strategy and helping you think through what is going to be impactful for you as you make your next steps in your digital marketing strategy. And so without further ado, we're going to move into the Q&A here as we put up the QR code, and Shalane's also going to put a link here in the chat for that scheduling link. So go ahead and book that call if you do think this is right for you. They do go pretty fast, so move fast. By being here live, by the way, you do have an advantage over the folks that are watching over the replay. If you're on the replay, there might be a spot available. Don't despair, reach out to us if you really, really need this. But yes, please move on that quickly if this is something that is right for you. So with all that being said, let's answer some specific questions that you guys have around your business. Let's see if we can clear up some things right here on this webinar. And we have Shalane here also on the team. We have Karash here on the team. We also have Derek on the team here as well. So you have our team right here available for you right now to support you with any questions you have. So this is a really good opportunity for those questions. And you can take yourself off of mute, by the way, and ask those like a regular Zoom call as well.
Yeah, thank you, Samuel, for the information. And one of the things that drove me to participate in this meeting is part of my work is working with the energy efficiency programs, and I was really interested to see how you working with that HVAC company really built their business, and how maybe we can piggyback onto that so that we can increase our program goals, which we're not meeting right now. So maybe partnering up with what you guys have done there, I think would be a good opportunity for the utility company that I work with.
Very cool. Yeah, we've worked with a few different HVAC companies all over the US. So we do have some good familiarity within that industry. Yeah, go ahead and book a call. Yeah, we'd love to chat that through a bit more with you and see if there's something that would be really, really beneficial in terms of building out your digital marketing strategy in a much bigger way. I think it could make a difference, especially if you're not meeting the goals you need to be meeting through traditional methods right now. Expanding online, everyone who's ever going to be a customer uses Google, guaranteed. People literally trust Google more than they trust their doctor these days when they're searching about, what might be wrong. So it's really, really, really powerful stuff. It's a really intimate place where you can connect with your customer and really connect with them in a way that can really transform their lives. So yeah, I'd be really, really excited to help you out with that. So go ahead and book a call. Any specific other specific questions that you guys have? Carissa, I know you'd mentioned that you had some sort of apprehension around running ads online. Is there anything in particular that drives that fear, that supports that uncertainty that we can maybe speak to? Cindy, awesome. Scheduled a call. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, what makes me nervous is like putting money into it and then not seeing anything come back from the money that you're putting into it, right? Like that's scary.
Yes.
Not seeing anything from that effort.
Yeah, that's a very legitimate fear, and it can happen. It can. So it is very legitimate. The number one thing to ensure against that, though, is whenever you do pay for any online advertising, you connect it up to the results that are valuable to you. So, for example, Juice Bar, which I'm aware you own, is a very good example. So for example, for you, you could literally connect it up to Google Maps. So you could literally say, okay, I'm going to allocate this budget and I'm going to set up conversion tracking so that whenever someone searches for the Juice Bar on Google Maps, and you can get prioritized with an ad, by the way, for like any juice bar in the area. You can be right at the top. And I know it won't be very competitive in this area. So like you've got a golden opportunity to take advantage of this. You can show up right at the top. And if someone clicks on the directions with the prioritized ad, you can track that as a measurable result. And what Google will do is Google will confirm, yes, that person actually got directions to and arrived at the juice bar. So you know if it's worked or not. And what's more than that, once Google finds a couple of those people, Google says, oh, that works. Like those people are the people who are the target market. Like those are the people who care about the quality of the juice that you specifically offer compared to what else is available in the market. Let's find more of those people. Google will literally calculate over 70 million data points in 0.1 of a second to go and find that person who's exactly like the other people. So getting into your target market, it can be a bit of a warm-up phase, but once that's tracked and once that feedback loop's going, it's extremely potent. And if it doesn't work, you'll probably have got some customers and you will have some great market feedback as well. Does that help? Or is it confusing? Let me know. Awesome. Glad it was helpful. And because you're in town, Carissa, like we can grab a coffee and we can talk about it a little bit more as well if you like.
And Sam Demetrios had a question. He said, what would be some examples of specific skills for online ad management that would generate growth?
Oh, interesting question. So just to clarify, are you saying, like, say, for example, or are you asking about, say, if you had someone in-house or you were wanting to train yourself up in that, what the skills would be needed to execute online ads effectively? Is that along the right lines of what you're asking? Freelance? Okay. I'm just not quite clear on your question. So are you looking to qualify someone to work for you, or are you wanting to learn how to do it yourself?
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Much better.
Just examples of skilling up, whether it be in-house or freelance. What would be like, a few low-hanging fruits that you see yield the fastest results for like an online campaign? Maybe it'd be copywriting or something like that. Oh,
I see. Okay, so the constituent part. So I've had some really interesting conversations around this recently, and a lot of them have been influenced by the role that artificial intelligence is playing increasingly in online advertising. So AI is starting to automate a lot of things. So first of all, I'll give you a list of the stuff that AI is doing that you don't want to do because AI does it for you now. And then I'll give you a list of the things that you do have a lot of control over and that you do want to be doing yourself. So the things that AI is taking care of for us is, I mentioned, Google calculates tens of millions of data points in 0.1 of a second before showing an ad to someone. When I started in digital marketing, we used to have about 12 or 20 different levers that we could pull on, 12 different data points that we could look at and then say, oh, these people are more likely to convert, and we'd focus in on that. The AI does all of that for us now. That's not something that you need to spend too much time on. You might want to exclude certain audiences, like certain age groups that aren't appropriate for your particular business or service, product or service. But generally, the AI does that for you. The AI also optimizes for conversions really, really well. So once you have some results recorded, Google creates a very, very powerful feedback loop. So you don't want to use like a manual bidding strategy for cost per click. You want to be really getting in to some other detail, because there are some great advanced artificial intelligence driven bidding strategies such as maximize conversions, target return on ad spend, that are really, really powerful and can get you on track towards those results. Now, what you do want to focus on that the AI cannot do is, number one, relationships within your team, relationships with the businesses that you're working with, to really get a strong grasp of what's going on. Those conversations that happen are really, really valuable, and the AI can't have meaningful conversations. So for example, we'll often talk to customers and have a real conversation about what they need and what they want. And through that conversation, we're able to do things that the AI can't. And that connects right into messaging. You want to be constantly testing creative. AIs are terrible when it comes to creativity. The AI does try to make ads, but they're awful. Like they don't speak to the soul. They're really, really generic. They don't work. One of the things I like to do when I do audits for clients is I like to gut all the AI written content in there, because it's pretty terrible. And the AI will try to auto apply a lot of these things. So be aware for where the AI tries to take too much control. You want to have control over the creative. You want to get good at having a good sense for imagery, what appeals emotionally in images to your customer. You want to have a really good sense of advertising copy, particularly emotionally driven advertising copy, because people don't buy from here. Some of them do buy a bit more logically, but most of us, it's an emotional appeal. Like we're doing it because we want to change how we feel. We want to feel something different in our lives, because usually we're wanting to get away from a painful experience that we're currently having. We want to get to something that resolves that, or makes us better, or moves us towards our goals in a better way. So focusing on your ad copy is really, really potent. Dwayna, who's here with us, we've worked with Dwayna on a consultation basis. Dwayna is actually an author, and I'd be tempted to hire Dwayna to write some of our ads, because she understands how people work. She understands that emotional appeal. So that's a really, really crucial part of online advertising. Awesome, Dwayna. And yes, so those are two things. So relationships, creativity, and then strategy. Because the last thing you want to do is just throw traffic at the website and hope it works. It rarely does if that's your approach. It rarely, if ever, does. What we do internally is we map out our digital marketing strategy for each of our clients in 1 month increments. So before the upcoming month, we have a full strategy laid out so that we don't get pulled around by all the shiny things and the 1,000 different things we can change within an account. We get really clear on where we want to go first, and then we have a list of things that we can try in optimizations, but we don't go overboard. And one thing that you want to be aware of here is if you're talking to a Facebook ads rep or a Google ads rep, they will try and throw the newest and latest and greatest at you, and they will literally say, hey, log into your account right now and make these changes right now on the call. And we never, ever, ever do that, because it's not thoughtful. It doesn't take the whole picture into account. It's like a micro optimization. These people can have really, really good things, and there's some people who are much more intelligent and knowledgeable around this stuff than others. But typically, you will know your business better than a Google ad rep who's a Google ad rep for like 300 different businesses. Like, you'll know the answer for your strategy as in a holistic manner much better. So 3 things you want to focus on: creative, relationships, and strategy. Helpful? Awesome. Love it. Cool.
Okay, are there
we have
any
some
other
great
questions before we wrap up?
So I had one question. Like, let's say the utility company that I work for already is working with somebody, but maybe they're not happy. So how does that work as far as like, are most businesses set up on contracts, or would they easily be able to get out of that and maybe sign up with you guys?
Excellent question. So you'll want to check what's going on in that agreement, because every digital marketing team or agency, they will set things up slightly differently. Some people just have a rolling monthly retainer. Some people will say, hey, to get you the results, we need like a year or longer. And it depends, of course, on the variety of services that are offered. So it really does vary. So I would go and I would check the terms of the agreement that you have with them. Ours is a little bit of a hybrid. So we have a 4-month minimum, for example, to start off, because we do not see the peak performance until that 3 to 4 month mark. So we do require that commitment. But then past that point, it's a really low hassle 30-day rolling agreement, because we want to be motivated to continue to optimize, continue to get better for you. And we also want you to be free to go, like if you aren't getting the results that you really should be getting. So like, I think that works best. And that's the model that we have, but it does vary from business to business. In terms of what that transition looks like, usually what will happen, and I've done this both ways, transitioning over to another agency, having accounts transitioned over to us. Usually it's good for both teams to get on the same page and have a call to have a bit of a debrief on what has been tried, what is going on so far, to give the background on the account. That's really, really helpful. And most agencies, if they're doing things right, should take that time to have a nice transition. And you'll just need to give them the notice that they require in the agreement, and then you'll be good to go with the next agency. Does that help? Does that answer the question well? Awesome. Love it. Cool. Well, we have gone 2 minutes over. Oh no. This has been great. Thank you, everyone. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to email us. You can also book a call. You will get a replay in an email after this as well. If you want to go over anything in a bit more detail, particularly the questions you've asked, you might want to re-listen to that a little bit, take some extra notes. And also there might just be some good stuff in there as well that, is just useful for you to know, because it is a lot of information. And if you're on the fence, there will be a link to that consultation call as well in the email that you'll get after this as well. So if you want to think about it, you can absolutely do that as well. Amazing. Oh, thank you everyone in the chat. Massively appreciated it. Amazing. Yes, all of you have done a really good job in pushing your knowledge on this forward, because as I mentioned, there's a big gap here. And so understanding and getting to grips with digital marketing is probably one of the most important things you can do in your career over the next 10 to 20 years. So good work. Well done to all of you for taking massive action and showing up here.
Thank you, everyone. You're amazing. And we will be talking to a lot of you very soon.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your days.